Welcome to the TVLT channel and the second part of TBLT and technology. If you have not watched the first video, I would encourage you to do that to understand the main principles of technology-mediated TBLT and why it is an excellent methodology for language learning. My name is Marta González Lloret, and I am a professor of Applied Linguistics at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. First of all, what is technology-mediated TBLT? TMTBLT refers to a task-based methodology that fully integrates technology at all levels of the curriculum, from the needs analysis to the development of pedagogic tasks, the implementation of those tasks, learner assessment, and program evaluation. What does a technology-mediated TBLT lesson look like? There are many possible tools and spaces that can be used to integrate technology in TMTBLT. I will use virtual exchanges for an example of a TMTBLT lesson. Virtual exchanges are collaborative spaces where students from two remote institutions learn each other's language and culture, and they interact to learn about each other, work together in projects, complete tasks, etc. This interaction can be done through different digital spaces, but most commonly via video conferencing. In our needs analysis, we have found that students would like to know more about the city where their study abroad program travels, so they can talk to their parents and grandparents about it and have some knowledge when they get there. Therefore, our target task is talk about the place you are going to visit with input from local experts. In this model, to help learner accomplish the task, we develop pedagogic tasks that target the language that they need and the digital skills that they need. These pedagogic tasks increase in complexity and start with input tasks, then guided output task, followed by free output that will bring students closer to the target task. At any point during this pedagogic task, when learners have difficulties or questions, the instructor should provide feedback and focus on four. That is, short explanations of the language structures that students need at that precise moment. Finally, at the end of the lesson, formative performance-based assessment is conducted to see whether students can perform the task and how well they can do it. And in this case, the assessment will be through an oral presentation. So let's start. Remember, our target task is talk about the place you are going to visit with input from local experts. The first steps are to design pedagogic tasks that are input-based. For our target task, we could start by asking students to search the internet for information on the partner institution, the region, the city, and also in pairs make a list of key vocabulary. Learners can watch a video and select from a list those facts that are true or false according to the video. And then with a classmate, they can correct those that are false to the real information. The video can be watched more than once if the teacher thinks that it is necessary. Another activity would be to organize into sections: culture, geography, monuments, gastronomy, facts about the city, and also compare them with their own city. Language learners can watch a short video and place it in chronological order. The video can be about historical or social events, and it could be about the city or the area, and the list of events can be provided to them ahead of time. Students can also match a list of questions and answers with facts about the partner institution. This is mostly reading input. And they can place in order a short dialogue that includes greetings and leave takens, some formal, some informal. And this would be to target pragmatic skills. Afterwards, the class can also discuss with whom we use what kind of greetings, why, what does that mean, etc. From input pedagogic tasks, with whatever feedback we need to provide or focus on form we need to keep the students, we pass to guided output pedagogic tasks. And these are oral or written tasks that are most of the time done collaboratively, either in pairs or groups. And it is during this collaborative pair work that negotiation of meaning happens, which we know from SLA research is essential for language acquisition. For example, students will work in groups of 3 and reread the historical events that they have seen in the previous tasks and decide which 3 are more important for the city and why. And then each group can present those to the class. In pairs, students can formulate questions to be answered by their partner in the other institution. And in class, they can discuss the appropriateness of those questions and the language used to formulate them, which also connect with the social pragmatics and the pragma-linguistics of the language. As a class, students discuss how to present themselves to others, so doing self-presentations, and they can practice, do some role plays with classmates of how to introduce themselves to someone from the target culture, and also how we can establish conversation, including greetings and leave takings that they have done in previous tasks. Learners take a few minutes to become familiar with Padlet. This would be a digital pedagogic tasks with the instructions on the L2. So we keep working through the language to learn to do things with the language. And then the learners record a short statement about themselves, an introduction in Padlet. And this is going to be seen by the other institution. If the students cannot do this in class, this activity of recording their self-presentations in Padlet can be done outside of the classroom as homework. Finally, the teacher will share that Padlet page with the partner institution. As before, opportunities for feedback and focus on form may happen, and the teacher should be ready to address these. From the guided output, we pass to free output, where learners start using the language more, sometimes individually, and they start approximating more to the target task. Learners can watch the Padlet videos from the other institution and select someone to work with. Or if they're going to do these activities outside of the class, then the teachers can pair them according to their schedules. Learners can meet their partners via conferencing, Zoom, Skype, or any other tool that is convenient to both of them, to talk about their institutions, their cities, to ask questions to their partners, and to get to know each other. After a few interactions to get to know each other, they can collaborate to prepare a presentation using Google Slides or document pages, comparing the two cultures in one topic of their choice. They can compare their institutions, university life, they can compare their foods, history, nightlife, or for more serious topics, they can engage in comparison of politics, social engagement, societal problems, the environment, etc. As the last task, and in this case, it would also be the performance-based formative assessment, each student presents their product to their respective classes. This cycle can be repeated as needed to target different aspects of the task, and for other tasks, to form a curriculum. There are many different ways to assess what the students have learned in the lesson and give them detailed feedback. The important thing is that we assess the ability of the students to conduct the task, whether they have been able to do it or not, and whether they have developed the necessary digital skills and have progress on their language. I am a firm believer in rubrics because they allow for consistent grading, especially when we have a lot of students. This is just one example of how students could be assessed. It can be changed from a Likert scale to a yes or no or a percentage scale. And when the third column is shared with the students, it should include comments for the learners. These are some criteria that would help assess learners, but there may be others depending on the context. It's important that we assess whether students were able to do the task, if the task had all the components needed and all the content, if it was effective. Their digital skills, were the learners able to connect with their partners and manage to communicate effectively via the technology. And also when we assess the language, it is good to look at fluency, accurate complexity, and appropriateness. Were the students fluent? Did their language has a lot of errors or not? And how severe were these errors? Did the learners include language that was at the level required by the task and the class? Did they include structures and vocabulary that was required by the task? And also, was the language that they use appropriate in this task? To summarize, many tools and spaces exist that can be used for TMTBLT. And I would recommend that you start with technologies that you and your students already know, and then move to other tools that may be more sophisticated, but always making sure that all the students have access to those technologies and that there are support for them. It should be the task that determines the tools and not the other way around. This is very important. We can develop and validate rubrics for performance-based formative assessment. And although this may take a little bit of time, once we have these rubrics, then they can be used iteratively. So it's time well invested. I would advise that you work collaboratively to develop a lesson or a curriculum, and that you start small with one or two technologies and then one or two tasks. And then you grow it semester after semester. It is important that we take advantage of existing innovation. For example, tools like ChatGPT can help us develop lessons and can help individualize student content and hopefully teach students to become critical, independent learners. AI can help us create questions for questionnaires and interviewers for our needs analysis. They can create clear and concise instructions for pedagogic tasks. They can help us extract main vocabulary for the text that we can create input-rich activities with. It can adjust the reading of text if we want to use them for reading activities. It can create fill in the blanks. It can create scenarios for performance-based assessment, and it can help us create our rubrics. The students can also take advantage of them. It can help them with their own errors to detect and critically correct them. It can create digital art to illustrate their presentations. Look for relevant vocabulary for their presentations. Quiz themselves through Quizlet and the AI tool itself. They can explore the topics to talk with their partners, and they can get personalized grammatical explanation for those probable grammatical errors that are not always seen in class. These are some recommended readings. You can find the references in the QRC with other references. I hope you have enjoyed this talk. Thank you for listening. And if you have not watched the other video on technology-mediated TBLT, I encourage you to do. Gracias. Mahalo.